feel their pain. The truth is out, the case is closed, but our search for justice never slows.
Hey everyone, happy Sunday. I hope everyone is having a good day or evening as it is here in New York. It's a little chilly today. It's currently 45 degrees. So I did turn the heat back on, even though I didn't want to, but just to get the chill out of the air, because once the sun goes down, you can tell that it's a little chilly. So thanks for being here. Kim, good to see you. Sinner, Thunder, Sunnyside. Yes, Sinner's live was great earlier. I will agree on that. Don Marie, thanks for being here. SG, Angie, hey Pookie, good to have you here. I know Sunnyside, right? Oops, wrong one. Hey AMAC. I decided to go live today just because I have an appointment tomorrow. So I am off tomorrow from work. So I said, why not? I'll go live a little bit later, and AMAC is going live at, I believe, 9:30. So once I'm done with my live, you will be redirected, excuse me, to AMAC's. But I agree, like it's like you blink and the weekend is over. It's just, it goes way too fast. Time itself, I found, getting older, time goes by so fast. Like it just gets faster in my mind, even though it's moving at the same clip as it did 30 years ago. Hey, little Irish girl, good to see you. It's officially Smonday. Oh, I've never heard that before. Smonday. That's a good one. So today we are going to look at some updates in the case from Fall City, Washington, where a 15-year-old boy shot his entire family. His 11-year-old sister survived by playing dead, and she was able to escape through a rescue window of their home. The details of this are very disturbing. Not only did this 15-year-old call 911 himself, but he tried to blame his little brother, who he had just killed, for the crime. Police have also said that they believe that the 15-year-old staged the scene so that it looked like it was a murder unaliving. However, I suppose what the 15-year-old didn't realize is that with him being the only one not injured, seems a little peculiar. I agree, diabolical. When I heard the details, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like it's so disturbing. So disturbing. SG, psychopaths, sociopaths are evil. I feel like anyone who is able to harm another human being in this way is definitely has some mental challenges. They are psychotic, but we'll see. Currently, the 15-year-old is being held in juvenile court. The prosecutor is seeking to move the case to adult court. And I had to look at the date twice because the hearing for that, so the hearing to determine whether or not this case will go to adult court is June 25th 2025. So 8 months until that hearing. So it'll be definitely interesting to see what happens. Personally, I feel that it should move to adult court, especially after hearing the details in the arrest warrant. To me, well, I'm going to hold my thought until the end. I don't want to say too much because I want y'all, for those of you who haven't seen the updates, to kind of come to your own conclusions. So I probably said too much already. Pookie, I would be surprised too. I don't really know a lot about the laws out in Washington State, but I just feel like something of this magnitude definitely should be. I mean, I feel like it meets that threshold. All right, so let me add this. Actually, we're going to go to an article first. So this is from CBS News. And teen charged in shooting deaths of 5 family members tried to blame his brother, court documents say. And I would love to read the entire court document. However, I don't know how that would, I know the media was able to get that information, but I would just be curious to read all of it. Because the news picks out, the parts that are going to give them the most views, in my opinion. Yeah, Pookie, maybe that's how long. I don't know. I just felt like I just was shocked. I was like, wait, 8 months? But that's what it said, unless it was a typo. So a 15-year-old boy was charged with murder Thursday in the shooting deaths of his parents and 3 of his siblings at a home in Falls City, Washington, according to court documents. The teen, whose name is being withheld because he is a juvenile, was charged with 5 counts of aggravated murder in the slayings of his parents, Mark and Sarah Humiston, 2 brothers ages 9 and 13, and his 7-year-old sister. Okay, Sephora. Oh. That was weird. The advertisement just popped up in the middle of what I was reading. He was also charged with 1 count of attempted murder for shooting and wounding his 11-year-old sister. That girl was in satisfactory condition at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. She has since been released and is with family. I did see that in an update. Autopsies performed by the King County Medical Examiner's Office determined that all 5 victims died of gunshot wounds. The handgun used in the shooting was believed to belong to the victim's father. According to the charging documents, just before 5 a.m. Monday, the suspect called 911 with a false story in which he claimed that his 13-year-old brother, quote, just shot my whole family and committed suicide too, end quote, at the family's home in Falls City. However, at about the same time as that call, 911 dispatchers received a second call from a neighbor who lives about a quarter mile away. That neighbor said the suspect's 11-year-old sister had run to his house and was bleeding from what appeared to be a gunshot wound. The girl said her entire family had been fatally shot and identified her 15-year-old brother as the gunman. The girl told dispatchers she was also shot by her brother and, quote, then described holding her breath and playing dead, end quote, the documents read. And we're going to hear why she held her breath. The girl later told detectives she had escaped through a bedroom window. Deputies responded to the Humiston home and found the suspect in the driveway and took him into custody. The 5 bodies were found inside the home. In a hospital interview with detectives later that day, the suspect's surviving sister said she identified the firearm used in the shooting quote, her father's silver Glock handgun, end quote. She said her father kept the pistol in a small lockbox that he would sometimes put by the front door so he could bring it to work. She told detectives the suspect was the only one who knew the combination to the Glock lockbox. What do you mean, little Irish girl? Victim's father? Investigators determined that the suspect systematically murdered his parents and siblings and then staged the scene prior to the arrival of first responders to make it appear that the murders had been committed by his brother. The court documents did not speculate on a motive. The suspect was scheduled to be arraigned Friday afternoon. The King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office said in a news release Thursday that the suspect was being held at the Clark Child and Family Justice Center, which is a facility for juveniles. Prosecutors are requesting that the case be moved to adult court. If transferred to adult court and convicted, the teen would face a sentence of 25 years to life, with the potential for release after 25 years, subject to review by the state's Indeterminate Sentence Review Board. An arraignment will not take place until the decision of adult or juvenile court is decided, the station reported. That decision could take months. Oh, you got it. Okay. Thank you, Pookie. In a statement Tuesday, public defenders representing the suspect said he is a 15-year-old boy who enjoys mountain biking and fishing and has no criminal history. Mark Humiston worked as an electrical engineer with Hargis Engineers in Seattle. We are blindsided and saddened by the tragic events that have led to the loss of a respected colleague, mentor, and friend, as well as the loss of immediate family members, the company said in a statement Thursday. Mark's leadership and vision were integral within our firm, and he will be greatly missed. I know, Sunny sighed. She lost her whole family and witnessed it. She's lucky to have survived. Yeah. I mean, and we're going to find out more about what she witnessed, what she heard. And I just, thankfully she has family that can support her. And hopefully, she gets the therapy she needs. It's awful. Absolutely awful. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Pookie. I mean, this Hey, sorry about that. Internet completely crapped out. No idea why, but it did. But we are back. Thankfully, it came back relatively quickly. And let me just... Hopefully it will now work. Oh, but now I'm not on my phone. Give me 1 second. Good Lord. All right, we're back. Okay.
The community is reeling after a teen is accused of killing 5 of his family members. Tonight, a vigil took place in Falls City to honor the victims. We now know one of the family members survived Monday's shooting, and they are still being treated at Harborview. So thanks for joining us tonight for the news at 10. I'm David Rose.
And I'm Sabir Rayford. Fox 13's Jennifer Dowling was at tonight's vigil and joining us live in Falls City. Jennifer, who came out to honor these victims?
Well, there were many members of the community, some who knew the family, some didn't. And there were several youngsters among the group that came out tonight, some taking time off of school this week in order to process this tragedy. While the kids...
And you know, that's one thing I hadn't thought about, is that all of these kids, even though they were homeschooled, they had friends in the community. They had friends, you know, and now really the entire community is going to be reeling because 5 of their members were killed by their own family.
Kids that were victimized in this case were homeschooled. They belong to sports leagues in the community, and several teammates shown up tonight to remember them.
This is the sad face that I drew.
Leo says this piece of artwork accurately describes how he's feeling.
Very realistic, I describe it as.
The youngster still processing the loss of a young friend and teammate.
Very, very, very sad.
He says his friend was supportive and one of the fastest on the team.
And he was so very nice. He was very fun to play with. And now he's gone.
His mom was also the little boy's coach.
He scored 3 goals in the game on Saturday. He was just a really awesome kid.
She said the family was at every game with no sign of trouble at home.
Not at all. It's, yeah, I just can't even, I don't know.
In order to wrap love around the entire community and family friends like Leo, Pastor Carrie Bland hosted this vigil.
Providing a space where people can come and share their memories of each other and talk to each other and love each other and just hold each other.
Prayers were offered. Memories shared.
We just delighted in our hearts that we knew such sweet kids.
They're members of our community, and so, our hearts just go out to them.
Shelley Yawn says her husband did the contracting work on the family home when they were remodeling. Seen here from the water, the home still had police tape across the lawn Tuesday.
Small town and tragedy. Everybody comes together. You never expect anything like this, even in a terrible situation, and they just seemed perfect.
For those who knew the family, it's been a struggle.
I don't even know if the boys are going to want to continue after this. That was kind of something we were going to discuss after this, if we were going to keep playing. And we had practice tonight, but we opted to come here in lieu of a practice.
He was one of the greatest kids I've ever known.
Oh.
Barbara says she didn't know the kids' dad as well, but said he worked hard as an engineer. She said she went shopping with the kids' mom in Issaquah at the nursery there. She said they often talked about their landscaping plan. She said she was a great mom who loved her kids. She says she also went to visit the teen that was injured at the hospital today. She says that teen is surrounded by loving extended family that is supporting her through this. Reporting live in Falls City, Jennifer Dowling, Fox 13 News.
Jennifer, thank you. As for the 15-year-old suspect, effect, there was a first appearance hearing earlier today in court. A judge found probable cause to keep him in custody while prosecutors decide what charges he may face. The teen chose not to appear in court, which is his right.
And I did look up the population of Falls City. It is, as of 2020, there were just over 2,000 people. So definitely a very small town. Very small town. Okay, so the next slide. Yeah, Remy, the kids break my heart. They don't know how to process the loss of an elderly person, let alone this. Exactly. I was 10 when my grandpa died, and I didn't really understand it. I knew he had cancer, and I know that he was home, but, you know, I still remember we were in the kitchen when my mom told me and my sister, and I don't think I really understood the gravity of it. But then I realized, you know, after his wake, I remember I was with my great aunt, my grandma's sister, and I just realized, like, grandpa's not coming back. So to deal with this, you know, with your friend, you know, you're on a soccer team and one of your teammates isn't going to be there. Like, just unfathomable.
We are not naming the 15-year-old who is being held here in Seattle because he's a minor who has not been charged yet. Today, his case was the focus at this courthouse.
The state is asking the court make probable cause findings for 5 counts of murder in the first degree.
A 15-year-old accused of shooting and killing Mark and Sarah Humiston and their 3 children and injuring a 4th child waived his right to appear.
These are not proven facts, merely allegations.
The court hearing comes one day after a chaotic scene.
Wait, did she just say they're not facts, merely allegations? Hold on a second. Let me just back up.
These are not proven facts, merely allegations.
The court hearing comes one day.
Okay, so she did, and I which makes sense that, you know, that is defense counsel. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. However, when you are the only person who has not been shot and everyone else has, you know, the odds aren't really in your favor.
Day after a chaotic scene.
Let's go and start up their medic.
Just before 5 a.m. on Monday, the 911 calls about gunfire started coming in.
Multiple GSW.
Leading law enforcement down Lake Alice Road in Falls City,
GSW victims.
Where the sheriff's office says deputies made a tragic discovery at a home. King County Council member Sarah Perry issued a statement Monday saying 5 family members out of 7 were tragically killed. She says, "My heart aches for the lives lost and all who are struggling to make sense of this loss right now."
What we want to look at are the details gathered by investigators and what we can show to the court.
Prosecutors say the 15-year-old arrested for the crime does not have a criminal history in King County.
No indication that he's come to the prosecutor's office before, no previous cases, no first appearances. That's unusual to see these kinds of allegations with no previous contact with the prosecutor's office, but that's what we have here.
The serious allegations were the focus in this courtroom today.
They create the highest possible risk to community safety, and I order secure detention.
Prosecutors anticipate a case referral from investigators as early as Thursday for a charging decision, and another hearing is scheduled for Friday. In Seattle, Natalie Swaby, King 5 News.
Oh, right. So that was actually, the date of that was the 23rd, which I believe was Wednesday. Yes. So then he did appear. So he didn't appear on the 23rd, but he did appear at his court hearing on Friday when they officially charged him. All right, let's see. Yeah, SG. I didn't realize it until, you know, it's hard to process for sure.
Hi there, Molly. Well, I can tell you that investigators have really focused all of their energy inside that home. But today we saw something a little bit different. We saw them coming in and out of the house with bags of evidence. I talked to the sheriff's office. They said it's very likely that they'll wrap their work up on site up soon. But make no mistake, this is going to be a very active, long-term investigation. 3 days later, and investigators are still here, still at work. Family members left holding the pieces. 2 relatives who brought flowers, too choked up to speak, told me Sarah Humiston, the mother killed, is their cousin. A soccer coach identified the parents to Como News as Mark and Sarah Humiston and confirmed they are members of one family. This neighborhood, Falls City, the Snoqualmie Valley, even first responders hit hard by this news, what they saw.
And somebody, in my earlier live on this story, had mentioned, first responders, and I tend, I'm guilty of it. I tend to forget, they're the first responders. They're who find the scene. And I'm sure in this small community of 2,000 people, they haven't seen a whole lot of murders.
And who was killed.
We just broke down. I mean, it's just, we all have families,
Police will only describe the victims as 2 adults and 3 juveniles. They also added this is a domestic incident.
It is a tragedy, and there's no undoing it. There's no going back. There's no fixing it.
A homicide investigation like this, law enforcement tells me, happens once every 20 years.
It is hard to process.
A second memorial building along the riverfront in downtown Falls City, many showing up in the town's gathering place, Aroma Coffee Company.
This, our coffee shop, since its inception, has been a great gathering place. And it brings us all together. They have a lot of events, and we laugh together, and it smells like we cry together too. It's very sad.
I agree, Little Irish. They all, wrong one. They all know each other too, probably. Yeah. I mean, even, my nephew plays sports, and, there's all the football moms and dads and grandma and grandpas and other family members. So you get to know, everybody. I know, Remy. It's so sad. It's so sad.
The 15-year-old waived his right to appear in court. A judge said for community safety, he'll remain in secure detention until a charging decision is made. Now, investigators tell me they're going to forward all of their information to the prosecutor's office probably by tomorrow morning. By the end of the day, we'll know what, if any, charges will be filed. I also learned new today that there will be a community gathering. It's going to be limited to Snoqualmie Valley residents so they can meet at a church and talk about what they're experiencing and processing this. That will be at the Snoqualmie Valley Alliance Church on Saturday. Reporting live, I'm Michelle Esteban, Como News.
All right.
Yeah, just one loss makes a huge ripple. This makes waves, yeah. And to think, a 15-year-old. I mean, then again, I think back to Carly Gregg, and she was 14 at the time, but 15 when she was charged, and she killed her mom and tried to kill her stepdad. And they tried to say it was mental illness, but why? What made her do what she did? I don't think we'll ever know. I don't think we'll ever know. Hey, Karma. Thanks for being here. SG, where's your comment? I live in a town of 1,100. It's very different in small towns, much more personal. Definitely. It is. All right. So I do have one more news clip, and then I have a final article that we're going to look at. And this this news clip details some of what happened, and I will say I did have some of these details in the short that I had made earlier today. They are graphic and maybe disturbing. They were disturbing to me, but trigger warning.
And after being charged on 5 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder, that teen suspect is booked and back behind bars. Thanks for joining us for Fox 13 News at 5. I'm Matthew Smith.
And I'm Hannah Kim. We've since learned that his 11-year-old sister played dead after she says her 15-year-old brother shot her. She escaped and is now out of the hospital and home with loved ones. Fox 13's Alejandro Guzman has this story.
That's something that's still up in the air. We have yet to see if the juvenile court is going to be handling this case or if the teen is going to be charged as an adult, something we won't even know until next June. Why? You're probably asking, what's taking so long? Well, prosecutors say they just got over 1,200 photographs from the Washington State Crime Lab, who is helping them process the forensics in this case. Now, we know that this
and so she just said 1,200 photographs, and I'm trying to think, because with the Idaho 4 case, that was one thing that they tended to say a lot, is how many photos they had, the digital evidence that was collected. And I would imagine it would be, well, I don't know, depending on the scene, right? That's a lot of photos. Remy, no, not necessarily. They had, during the press conference on Tuesday, because this happened early, so it was Monday afternoon, and then they did another one Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. They had said it was going to take some time to process the scene. But I'm guessing, just to gather evidence, probable cause. Yeah, and the sister survived. So, it makes me wonder. I wonder what the 15-year-old thought when he learned his 11-year-old sister survived.
has been a very lengthy investigation, and it will continue to be so.
Your Honor, Mr. is now in the courtroom in custody.
We've heard from prosecutors this case is very unusual to have these serious allegations against someone with no criminal history. The 15-year-old boy is accused of shooting and killing his mom and dad and 3 siblings, the youngest just 7 years old. It's a tragedy.
Oh, thank you, Remy. Okay, so that makes sense, because I had said at the beginning of the live that I saw the next court date to determine whether or not this 15-year-old will be charged as an adult is June 25th, 2025. And so that makes sense. They have a lot of things to process. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, just on the lake, it looks so serene and peaceful, just absolutely beautiful.
Tragic case that's shaken the Falls City community. We previously heard he enjoys mountain biking and fishing, but given what we've learned in probable cause documents, the teen...
And I will say that, again, trigger warning, some of these details may be distressing to some.
Allegedly called 911, claiming his 13-year-old brother shot his entire family before committing suicide, going as far as investigators say placing a gun near his hand, staging the crime scene. His defense attorney, Amy...
Right. So, he clearly was sound of mind. I mean, in my opinion, of course, I wasn't in his mind. But to stage it so that it appeared that your 13-year-old brother is the one who killed your family by putting the gun next to him and then calling 911, relaying the same. I mean, to me, that shows intent. It shows deliberate action. Like, just unforgivable. Dad was an engineer. Yeah. Right? Yeah, if they can prove staging the scene after. And, unfortunately, they're the only witness, but thankfully was able to escape and get help.
Parker says community members have attested to the teen's good character.
He's been described as kind and caring, someone who has friends, who engages in pro-social activities, someone who's been a positive contributor to his community.
The teen, not being identified per court order, is facing 5 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. There was a domestic violence designation on each charge. Prosecutors making an amendment Friday saying it doesn't apply to his siblings.
DV designation that was attached on the original information on counts 2, 3, 5, and 6 was done in error.
The incident reported Monday shortly before 5 a.m. Given the number of forensic evidence and reports, the defense is eager to see more than a 3.5-page probable cause document.
We would like to request that the respondent participate in a JJAT mental health assessment so that we can understand what his needs are while in detention.
That was quickly objected by defense attorney.
And just seeing, they're not obviously showing his face for obvious reasons, but this kid was pretty tall based on, the other adults around him. He looked fairly tall.
I did see family members in the courtroom, but we're opting to give them privacy during this very difficult situation. We know that this 15-year-old will remain here in custody until a decision is made. He's expected to be back in court next January. That's for a status update. Of course, Fox 13 will stay on top of this and bring you the very latest as we continue to learn more on this ongoing investigation. In the meantime, though, the King County Sheriff's Office will be hosting a community meeting for everyone in the area. That's happening tomorrow, Saturday, at the Snoqualmie Valley Alliance Church. Folks here can come and bring their questions and, of course, also have access to support. Anything and everything we learn, we will share with you. Alejandra Guzman, Fox 13 News.
Okay, so that wasn't the clip that I thought I had, so give me just a second. I want to find the one that I used in my short because that one actually, let me just stop sharing this for a minute. That one actually had a lot more detail in it than the one that we just watched. Just give me one moment. Maybe this is it. Nope, that's the one we just watched. Okay. Hey, Chopper, how are you? Well, this is not cool. I mean, I just watched it. All right. For some reason, it's not in my watch history, even though I watched it this morning. All right, let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Let's see. All right, well, oh, this might be it. Actually, this is it. It's Fox News, and I said, I don't know if I'm going to show Fox News because they like to copyright their stuff, but let's see. Here we go. We're just going to go from YouTube this time. Okay, Chopper. Have a good night. That's true, Remy. The defense may try and say it was panic and the weapon was dropped there. But if you're panicking, why would you call 911 and say it was your brother who did it? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you did it, I don't know. If like you were panicking, I don't know if you would probably call 911 and say, oh my God, I just killed my family. I don't know. I guess as information comes out, yeah, as a prosecutor, you may be prosecuting an innocent person or guilty one. Right. Look how many wrongly convicted we have. I agree. And just like defense, like that's your job. You defend. I think I'd be the same, Yada. I could never defend someone I know was guilty, and some of these big money attorneys will. No way. And a lot of times I feel like attorneys might tell their clients, even if you did it, don't tell me you did. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know, what they need to abide by, things like that. But that's what they say in the movies.
A 15-year-old has been charged with several counts of murder after he was accused of shooting and killing 5 members of his family in Falls City and injuring another. According to the court documents, he then called police to claim that he was almost a victim himself. In a call to 911, the teen claimed he ran to a bathroom to escape gunfire, but as court documents show, his only surviving sister told police a very different story. Good evening.
Right. So he said, and that's an important thing, he said he ran to a bathroom to avoid gunfire. But that wasn't the case.
And thank you for joining us for the News at 10. I'm David Rose.
And I'm Sabir Rayford. We want to warn you, the details in this case are disturbing. Tonight, we have team coverage on this tragic story. Fox 13's Dave Dowling is in Falls City with the latest on the surviving family member.
But first, Fox 13's Jennifer Dowling is in our newsroom tonight. Jen, you've been looking through those charging documents. What have you learned?
Investigators say a 911 call first came in from the 15-year-old just before 5 a.m. when he told dispatchers someone just shot his whole family. The teen then accused one of his deceased younger brothers of committing the crime, alleging he had done so because he'd been caught looking at pornography the night before. However, his sister was able to escape by playing dead after she was shot. The story she lived to tell contradicted his statements in a very dramatic fashion.
And so just that detail of, not just saying my brother killed my family. He also said he killed my family because he was looking at pornography the night before. It just seems a bit too detailed and intricate to me, especially if you were in a situation where your sibling was trying to kill all of you. I don't think, for me personally, I wouldn't be worried about why. I'd be worrying about he just killed my family. Just to blame your little brother for something you did, I don't get it. I don't get it. Hey, C Bonbon, thanks for being here. I agree. Yeah, planned in a way that, he was meticulous. And he made sure that everyone was injured in some capacity. And based on what the medical examiner had stated, he made sure that they were dead. And also based on what his sister said, and we're going to get to that in a minute.
Physically, she's doing well, but I can't speak to her mental or emotional state.
Soccer coach and family friend Rhea Robertson was in tears this week after visiting the surviving sibling, the only one able to escape from the family's Lake Alice home after her 15-year-old brother is accused of trying to kill her.
Me and a couple of the parents went down and brought her some things just to say that we were there and that we loved her.
Court documents show that the young survivor was key in telling police what she witnessed Monday morning. She said she was asleep in her room with her 7-year-old sister Katie and woke up to gunfire. She says she could see her brother Joshua shot in the head and her dad Mark hit multiple times, laying in the hallway, bleeding from the head and mouth.
And this little girl, this little 11-year-old girl, after witnessing this highly traumatic event, was able to give such detailed information to investigators about what she heard, what she saw, and I mean, this girl has a purpose, for sure.
She says her younger sister Katie went out into the hallway and she heard another shot and saw her sister fall to the floor. Then she saw her brother enter her room, point a gun at her, and shoot once or twice. She thought that a single bullet hit both her hand and her neck and that she immediately felt pain. Then
so this next part is what really, really got to me. And I'll hold my thoughts until after it plays, but this is what really got me thinking. See, Bonbon, you're welcome. Thank you for covering this. Well, glad you're covering this. This happened about 25 miles from where I live.
Saw him leaning over the 3 bodies in the hall, touching their necks or chest to see if they were alive. She told police when he...
And that's what got me. She saw him leaning over the 3 bodies in the hallway, touching their necks or chest to see if they were alive. That to me shows intent. It shows that he wanted to be certain that they were dead.
When he came back, she closed her eyes and held her breath and pretended to play dead as he stood next to her bed. He left and she escaped out a fire window.
She has a lot of family and like I said, they're wonderful people. So she's got a lot of support.
The King County Medical Examiner's Office says the second.
And for her to, I mean, just, I'm going to pretend to be dead because I see him seeing if they're alive or not. I'm going to play dead. I'm going to play dead. I'm going to hold my breath. Just, I cannot imagine. And thank you everyone for being here. I do appreciate it. If you're on the replay crew, thanks also for being here. For those of you who may not know, this happened in Rock City, Washington, and a 15-year-old is now charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted murder for not only killing his mom and dad, but also 3 of his siblings. His 11-year-old sister survived by, as we just heard, pretending to be dead. This next part is where they describe the injuries, so viewer discretion advised.
Oldest son, Ben, 13, was shot multiple times in the head. Investigators say their mom, 42-year-old Sarah Humiston, also died of multiple gunshot wounds to the head. Investigators said she was found in the bathroom with the door frame of the bathroom splintered as if it had been locked, then forced open.
I saw them.
So, again, just to kind of, so we can, oh, I went too far.
County Medical Examiner's Office says the second oldest son, Ben, 13, was shot multiple times in the head. Investigators say their mom, 42-year-old Sarah Humiston, also died of multiple gunshot wounds to the head. Investigators said she was found in the bathroom with the door frame of.
So this is what tells me, right? I had said, hey, Patty, I had said, you know, he didn't just want to hurt them. He wanted to make sure that they were dead. And this tells me this part here, and that's why I'm hoping I can get the whole probable cause affidavit, because I'd like to read the whole thing. But it says, and I don't know what it said before, but it says continued into the ensuite bathroom. The doorframe of the bathroom was splintered as if it had been locked, then forced open from the bedroom side. So that would tell me that whomever was possibly in the bathroom, I would say mom or dad, I don't know, he forced his way in there to make sure that they would die. I mean, the horror. And, you know, someone had said earlier, the planning. To me, this kid needs to be charged as an adult. And I don't know what prosecutors are going to decide. I know prosecutors want to charge him as an adult, but I mean, this is just, like Amax said, it sounds like a horror movie. And only it's real life. I mean, just, you know, and the fact that this kid didn't just shoot them. He shot them where he knew that they would die, in a place of their body where they would probably die. To me, it was planned. It was meticulous. It was thoughtful. Just, I mean, it's disturbing, like highly, highly disturbing. And the fact that they hadn't had any issues with this child prior, law enforcement didn't have any prior, well, some, but Jeffrey Dahmer, he wasn't really known to law enforcement when he was a kid, but he did things that were concerning. But his dad was a scientist, and they just thought he was experimenting. Like, he wanted to be a scientist too. But we all know what Jeffrey Dahmer turned out to be. So regardless of, you know, previous law enforcement exposure, you know, and the defense said he was kind, he was caring. Well, maybe he was, but what he did to his family, that was not kind and caring. Not at all. And somebody earlier had said diabolic. That's a great way to describe it. Hey, Gina. Oh. I heard he will be out in 10 years if he is tried and convicted as a juvenile. Probably. And my philosophy, for those of you who may be new, thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. My philosophy is, if you commit adult crimes, you should do adult time. The only thing I will say is, especially in the case of Carly Gregg, who was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, she is 15. I don't agree with the fact that she should be in life or should be in prison for life. She's 15. She has a long time for therapy, for, you know, any help that she may need. So I agree you should do adult time, but also a stipulation would be you shouldn't be sentenced to life without parole. I think that's way too dramatic, especially for kids. But in this case, especially, his parents don't get to come back. You know, they don't get their life back. His 7-year-old brother doesn't get his life back. 7-year-old sister, his 13-year-old brother, and I believe one of them was 9. They don't get to get their life back. So, I mean, that's my thoughts. And I know we're all different, which is great. I just, you know, this case especially, I feel like he should, I agree, stone cold. Just no. And he could have. I mean, maybe he did have tunnel vision. Maybe he was in a blind rage or having some type of psychotic break. But just what we've heard, which isn't a lot, just the few details shows that, in my opinion, this 15-year-old knew what he wanted to do and he wasn't going to fail at it. And that's why I'm so interested to know what his reaction was when he found out that his sister had survived. Yeah, makes me sad this little girl lived most of our worst nightmare. Yeah, Hey, One-Way Street, thanks for being here. I thought life with parole was appropriate for Carly, but committing that crime in Mississippi is another story. Yeah. I agree, life with parole. I mean, the fact she got without parole, to me, it's a little too harsh, but her mom can't come back. That is true, SG. If psychopath or sociopath, they can't be changed. I agree. Hey, Jenny, thanks for being here. Case-by-case basis and how the prisoner acts while incarcerated. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing that with the Menendez brothers, right? They seemingly have done well and actually contributed to the community. So, yeah, highly horrific. But he's not happy his sister survived. He may have thought he could convince them of his version of events. Yeah, and just to blame your brother and say, oh, it's because he was caught with pornography. I mean, it's feasible. It was alleged that Carly was upset that her mom confiscated her dab pen collection. They found out she had a burner phone through her iPad. But, I mean, I don't know. I'd be, hopefully they'll be able to determine why this kid did this. But we may never know. Jenny says, on the other hand, your whole family, that's a level of evil for lack of a better term. Yeah. And to make sure that they weren't going to live. But then again, with the 11-year-old, based on what she said, he only just checked to see if she was breathing. So unless, maybe he was, panicking at that point, as someone had said. Yep, Jenny, that's an entirely different thing, and not just the parents, but also minor siblings, one as young as 7. Yes, and I'm going to get that article again. Oops. Because, of course, I closed it down. Here it is. Nope, that's not it. Give me 1 second. Because that way we can just kind of summarize for those who came in a little late, just the update. Here it is. Okay. All right, so this is from CBS News. So we'll just go through this and then we'll just do some last thoughts. And hey, Steph, how are you? So, teen charged in shooting deaths of 5 family members tried to blame his brother, court documents say. So I had read this at the beginning, but just as a summary. A 15-year-old boy was charged with murder Thursday in the shooting deaths of his parents and 3 of his siblings at a home in Fall City, Washington. The teen, whose name is being withheld because he is a juvenile, was charged with 5 counts of aggravated murder in the slayings of his parents, Mark and Sarah Humiston, 2 brothers aged 9 and 13, and his 7-year-old sister. He was also charged with 1 count of attempted murder for shooting and wounding his 11-year-old sister. His sister has since been discharged from the hospital. She is with family. Autopsies performed by the King County Medical Examiner's Office determined that all 5 victims died of gunshot wounds, and the handgun used in the shooting was believed to belong to the victim's father. According to charging documents, just before 5 a.m., the suspect called 911 with a false story in which he claimed that his 13-year-old brother, quote, just shot my whole family and committed suicide too, end quote. However, at about the same time, the sister, the 11-year-old, was able to escape through a fire window when she heard her brother leave, and she ran to a neighbor's home who then called 911. And that neighbor said the suspect's 11-year-old sister had run to his house and was bleeding from what appeared to be a gunshot wound. The girl and her entire family had been fatally shot. Scratch that. The girl said her entire family had been fatally shot and identified her 15-year-old brother as the gunman. She told dispatchers she was also shot by her brother and then described holding her breath and playing dead. Deputies responded and found the suspect in the driveway, taking him into custody. The 5 bodies were found inside the home. In a hospital interview with detectives later that day, the suspect's surviving sister said she identified the firearm used in the shooting as her father's silver Glock handgun. She said her father kept the pistol in a small lockbox that he would sometimes put by the front door so he could bring it to work. She told detectives the suspect was the only one who knew the combination to the Glock lockbox. So parents, I would assume based on that, had they had a lot of trust in this kid if he knew the combination. Hey, Truth, how are you? Investigators determined that the suspect systematically murdered his parents. That's a good word, systematically. I feel like that kind of would encompass everything that I was thinking. And siblings, and then staged the scene prior to the arrival of first responders to make it appear that the murders had been committed by his brother. The court documents did not speculate on a motive. And he was arraigned on Friday. We saw that clip earlier. Prosecutors are requesting that the case be moved to adult court. If transferred to adult court and convicted, the teen would face a sentence of 25 years to life with the potential for release after 25 years. An arraignment will not take place until the decision of adult or juvenile court is decided. That decision could take months. And as stated before, the next court date is scheduled for June 25th, 2025. 2025. Hey, Josh B., thanks for being here. All right, so I do have, let's see. There was one more article, but I feel like, let's see. I feel like we've kind of covered everything, especially with that CBS article. So I think that's all we've got. I will be following this as I actually put it in my phone. It's going to be a few months, but I will definitely keep an eye on this one. Let me just go back to chat quick. If the Menendez brothers happened today, people would be vicious and calling for the death penalty. It's so odd now to see hardcore heavy punishment death penalty people bring so light toward them. Yeah, and my only thing with the Menendez brothers is when they were tried the first time separately, the abuse claim was allowed. And both juries were hung juries. The second trial, they were tried together, and the abuse claim was limited, they were both found guilty. So for me, I think about, what if they had done the trial together but allowed the evidence that was allowed in the first trials? It's just, that's the only thing that I question, is if the jury who had convicted them had heard everything the first two juries heard, would the outcome have been different? I don't discount the fact that they need to be, I mean, they killed their parents. Their parents can't come back. They, they need to face the consequences. I know many people who, I feel like we all know people who have gone through, abuse, and they don't kill their parents. So, but we all have different opinions, and that's mine. Let's see. I said yeah, Remy. So, and that's, I had said his parents, with the lockbox, his parents must have trusted him with it, but maybe they didn't give it to him. Maybe, he watched his dad open it and memorized the combination. We don't know. But according to the sister, her brother's the only one who knew it. So that would tell me that it was, known to all that, he knew it. Oh no, you have no heat, Truth Seeker? Oh my gosh, I hope you get that fixed soon. Yeah, I know, Remy, right? It's hard because he is only 15, but he took out all but one. He took out 5 family members. I mean, I find that, I don't know, is it rehabilitable, if that's a word? Is he able to be rehabilitated? I mean, who's to say he won't do it again? I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer, they believe his first victim was someone that he saw, he was hitchhiking and he saw, and he liked the thrill of it, and he just kept doing it. And then, he did even worse things. But I mean, I don't know. I'll never understand why people do this, because I can't even kill bugs. I put them in a cup and I put them back outside, only for them to come back in my house probably the next day. So, yeah, Remy, depending on when and if it went to trial. But if he's tried in juvenile court, they don't have a jury. So, I mean, maybe he'd be, depending on when his birthday is, maybe he'd be 16, maybe 17 when he goes to trial. But yeah, he'd be, I'd say early 40s. Early 40s. Yeah, I'm curious about the PCA too. And I did write a note to see if I can find them online. If not, if I can't find them online, I'll just call and say, hey, how can I get a copy of that? Because it is retracted, so I would assume everyone would be able to get a copy. I don't know if they have the same laws as Tennessee, where only Tennesseans can get those records, but Josh, I don't know the question to that. I mean, we don't know if their parents even had, a will. I don't have a will. Every time I go to the doctor, they're like, do you have a will or, advanced directives? I'm like, nope. But my sister knows my wishes, but apparently you need it in writing. So that's one thing that I keep putting off. But I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. That's true too, SG. I mean, her recall may change in time. Absolutely. And I find it amazing that she was able to remember so many details immediately after. And thankfully, you know, she was able to get out a fire window. You know, her brother didn't come back. Hey, Twist, thanks for being here. Hey, Siban, yes, they were homeschooled. Yes, that is true. And that was in one of, I don't think it was necessarily in one of the clips that I showed tonight, but I did see that in one of the other clips. I believe it was actually the soccer mom that we saw. She had mentioned it in one of the news clip interviews that they had been homeschooled, but the kids played sports and, you know, remember, you know, they did things in the community, things like that. Oh, Josh, you were speaking off topic on the Menendez brothers. Gotcha. All right, everyone. Well, thanks everybody for being here. I do appreciate it. As I said, I am off tomorrow for an appointment, so I will probably do a live my normal time, 4:30 Eastern, and I have some news stories that we're going to cover. One being a teacher who saw a student getting, I mean, he was getting assaulted, like severely assaulted, like kicked, punched. He was on the ground, and this teacher laid over the kid being pummeled and probably saved his life. And it was in broad daylight. No one else around did anything to help this kid, and this teacher went and saved him. And then I have some other stories I want to look at. We'll look at some updates. I did, my phone went off last week. Marcella Chidester, for those of you who don't know, she is oh gosh, and I don't remember her age. I think she's like 62-ish, 65. I think 62. She is facing time for driving her car into a boat club, killing 2 children during a children's birthday party. She claims it was because she had leg seizures. However, her blood alcohol content was nearly 3 times the legal limit. She was drunk. She drove into a building and she killed people. She had a court date last week, so I have to look into that. And then we have some other stories that we've been following that I've been slacking. I haven't really kept up to date with them, but thanks, Josh. I appreciate that. All right, everyone. I'll just keep on talking. So have a great night. And if you haven't liked this live, please do so. If you haven't subbed, I would appreciate it. Make sure those notifications are set to all, because for some reason, YouTube decides, even though you have it on all, you don't always get notifications. So I always have to make sure I hit all again, just so YouTube is reminded. So have a great night, everyone. And until next time, I will see you on the flip side.
Let it take me to that place now. I won't ever let my thoughts get away now. I got better things to do, picking fate now. I just wanna be the best, call me great now. I don't know if I'm okay or insane now. I remember better days on the playground, hoping I can find my way to even when I'm feeling down. I fight, even when I don't know what is right. I'ma pick a side and I'ma take pride. I will decide my fate and I will never let them tell me who I am. If you try to shake me, I'll be damned. Planet on the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone.